Styx, Master of Shadows, is surprisingly one of the most challenging stealth games I've played in the recent years for both good and bad reasons. Now, just like with superhero games, I'm also a huge fan of the stealth genre. If I discover a game that has stealth capabilities, then most likely I'm gonna play it. Like the Hitman games, Splinter Cell, Metal Gear, Thief, Batman Arkham series, and Assassin's Creed with its social stealth mechanics, and there's a lot more. It's not about blasting your way through every single encounter, but rather exercising caution, patience, and carefulness. Being in control of the environment in a different way, when planning infiltration tactics, clinging to shadows, or hiding in plain sight, then executing your enemies with precision, hiding the bodies, and covering your tracks. So being the stealth fan that I am, it's no surprise that Styx, Master of Shadows, caught my attention. From my experience, the game is a mixed bag of feelings. It definitely has some good qualities, but it also has some really annoying ones that can ruin the experience for a lot of players. And they probably did. So, let's break it down. These are the things that piss me off in Styx, Master of Shadows. Combat system. Now I know what you might be thinking. Why the hell am I criticizing the combat system in a stealth game? Because it's perfectly obvious that the game emphasizes a lot more on the stealth mechanics than combat mechanics. And yeah, that's a valid point. But before I get to the actual problem, let's break it down how the combat system works.
And to think I was beginning to like you.
Usually stealth games that don't use guns primarily for encounters, you have a combat system that's embedded with attack combos, counterattack possibilities, and so on. But not in this game. Here's how the fighting works. Once you enter combat, you have to time the attack from the enemy and parry it. For lower ranking enemies, one parry is enough and then you get to kill him. For higher ranking enemies, it's 2 or 3 parries. So there's no combo moves. As you can see, I'm swinging like a crazy motherfucker with nothing to show for it.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Now the question is, does the fighting system suck?
You better keep your tongue behind your teeth.
Absolutely. It's easily one of the shittiest fighting mechanics I've seen in a while. But as I mentioned, you're not really supposed to be fighting in this game, and for some people, that excuse is good enough. I mean, I perfectly understand, but that does not mean that I'm just gonna accept this. The combat system is piss poor, monotonous, with practically zero variety. Like, on your first playthrough, you're most likely gonna make more mistakes. So if you're fighting like 3 higher ranking enemies at the same time, it can be really frustrating. I have to parry each of these fuckers 3 times before I can kill them. And that's the point where the game stops being fun. And if you happen to be in a situation like this, then you might as well just put the controller down because you're fucked.
Lies! You're making it up.
Which finally brings us to the actual problem. Escaping a combat situation if you don't want to fight. And that, ladies and gents, is where the true bullshit begins. Getting out of a combat scenario can be a real pain in the fucking ass. And let's analyze this.
Enough with the life story.
Of course, on my first playthrough, I made mistakes. Every time I got into the combat stance, I never really wanted to fight, I just wanted to escape. Because the combat system sucks so goddamn hard, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. It's kinda like that annoying friend you never want to hang around with. So the first thing I tried was just running away, but that doesn't work. As soon as you enter the combat stance, you're basically stuck in it. So you can't just run away. Imagine if that was in Assassin's Creed, you couldn't run away from a combat situation. Pretty ridiculous. Anyway, the next thing I tried was rolling away. But that didn't work either, because the enemies are constantly on your ass, following you everywhere, keeping you stuck in the combat stance.
Oh, you are sadly mistaken.
The third idea that came into my mind was jumping, so I backed myself to a crate to jump on it, but guess what? Once you enter combat, you can't even fucking jump. Whoever made it like this is a real cocksucker.
Fuck you and your bullshit.
There's only 2 methods that I know of how to escape the combat stance. First method is by backing yourself to a ledge that you can drop down from and then you can run away. But why the fuck do I gotta do that? Was it too difficult to include the jumping mechanic into the combat stance? Come on. The second method is by turning invisible. That's easy, but there's a catch. Turning invisible consumes amber, which means if you don't have enough amber, you can't turn invisible. So now just imagine, you're fighting in a spot. There's no ledges to drop down from. You don't have any amber to turn invisible, and on top of that, you can't roll, run, or jump to escape. Holy shit. You know, I can forgive the shitty combat system, but how can something as simple as just escaping the combat stance be so goddamn putrefied?
It makes me want to whack myself. And not in a good way.
Hiding bodies. It's a common feature in a lot of stealth games to be able to hide bodies, and fortunately, Styx is also one of those games. You can carry bodies and hide them in dark corners, closets, crates, or just throw them off a ledge into the abyss below, and you can even dissolve the bodies by using acid, which is really cool. So with all those options to cover your tracks, what could possibly be wrong? Well, let me fucking tell you.
No! Don't do that! I forbid you!
The problem is with the closets and crates because you can only fit one body in each of them. Yeah, one body in this big ass crate. What the hell kind of stupid bullshit is that? I can't believe this, and for the love of God, don't give me some stupid hardcore stealth game excuse. This is a mistake, a detail that someone overlooked, it has to be. I refuse to believe that something this simple was fucked up on purpose.
The feeling's mutual.
Now, hiding two bodies in a crate or a closet would have been perfectly fine, or hiding one body and using that extra space to hide yourself, like for example in Hitman Absolution, but in Styx, you can't do that. What's also ridiculous is that if you put a body in one of these, then you can't take it out anymore. So as soon as you put a body in a crate or a closet, it's immediately off limits. You can't use it anymore, I guess unless you reload a save file, but why the fuck is it designed like that? And did you see that? Take a closer look at the hole. The body disappears, so I guess that's why I can't take the body out of the closet. But if the body disappears anyway, then why in the holy mother of fuck can't I use it to hide myself? Yeah, I know why, but come on, I can't be the only one who's got a problem with this inconsistency. Suck my balls, game.
Would you and all the other mind-fucking dickheads like that? Huh? Would ya?
Loading screens. Stealth games are usually about trial and error, finding different pathways, memorizing the guards' patrol routes, and changing your tactics when necessary. What really helps with all this is a quick save feature, and thankfully Styx has that, which is definitely a plus in my book.
Yeah, I knew that.
Now, as I said before, on your first playthrough, you're most likely gonna make a lot of mistakes, and the best way to correct those mistakes is to load up the save file and try again. But the loading times are too fucking long. On the Xbox One, 30 seconds. Yeah, I timed it.
Well, that's impossible. No fucking way.
Like, what a load of shit. You can finish jerking off by the time this thing finishes loading, and I know what you might be thinking. Using the quick save feature is for noobs, it's your fault you suck at this game, learn to play, blah blah blah. Well, you know what, fuck you. That's still no excuse for these horribly long loading times. It can be most frustrating, especially for players that are trying to achieve the shadow insignia, which means finishing a level with no alarms triggered. And believe me, if you're trying to achieve that, then you're gonna be raping that quick save feature like some serious sadistic bastard. So staring at that screen for half a minute every single time you want to correct a mistake, which you're gonna be doing a lot, is absolutely god-awful, annoying, and a waste of time. Thanks for that.
Go die, you piece of shit.
Walk with me.
Enemy AI. Unfortunately, for the most part, the enemies can be a real bunch of glitched up, inconsistent, dumb motherfuckers. First thing that really bothers me is how they move or patrol. The movement looks so unnatural. I mean, look at this, they move like robots. Who the hell moves like that? Were they inspired by the Sims games with this shit?
Shh, not so loud.
One more thing I'm gonna show you is interrupting the patrol routes. Now, this doesn't happen every single time, but the stupidity still exists and it's hilarious. So let's take a look at this part. Now pay attention to what happens when I interrupt the guard's patrol route by extinguishing the light source. Now, he walks up to the torch, lights it up, and instead of continuing the patrol by moving forward, he walks back to the point and then continues the patrol. What the fuck? That is pretty funny.
Well, I suppose.
The next shit stain we're gonna look at are the glitches, and oh my god, there's a lot of those. Like, I don't even know where to begin with all this. From the thousands of people that have played this game, I would bet my ass in a blink of an eye that every single person experienced many glitches already on their first playthrough.
Must be why I can't remember what I did even yesterday.
Now, usually when you create a diversion by putting out a light source or dropping a chandelier from the ceiling, then the guards will investigate. However, I did have some situations where the guards didn't notice anything, and even this can happen. I took out the light source, the guard looks at it, turns away, and then continues patrolling without lighting the torch back up. And keep in mind, you're seeing the short version of this. I've actually been sitting here for over 5 minutes waiting to see if these fuckballs will light the torch.
Don't waste our time, dog.
Then you're gonna see stuff like this. And this. And also, this happened.
Stay alert. Something's lurking around here. Stay alert. Something's lurking around here. Stay alert. Something's lurking around here.
3 days later.
Stay alert. Something's lurking around here.
What kind of fucked up game is this? What am I playing? And you know, I didn't even show you half of the glitches and bullshit that I experienced. There was a lot more of this. Did anyone even test this pile of garbage? It's like I'm playing a half-broken product. And you know, that does it. That's about all I can take from this game. I'm done.
Make sure he has a little accident.
Styx, Master of Shadows. More like Master of Shit. This game to me is basically just one big why.
Oh, you've got some nerve.
Why is escaping from combat so frustrating? Or better yet, why was the combat system designed in such a lazy, lame-brained, dim-witted fashion in the first place? Why are the loading times so damn long? Why can't I hide 2 bodies in closets and crates? Why is the enemy AI such a butchered mess of programming bullshit?
You fucking shit.
Why can't I drop down from a short ledge when carrying a body? Look how short. Like, are you kidding me? I have to go down the steps for this? Why are the physics so fucked up in this game? If I slightly walk into an object, then the object just flies apeshit. Imagine if that was in real life. Anything you slowly walk into just fucking flies away.
That mud that you're using as blood is gonna be spilt.
And take a look at this. What the fuck was that shit? The elevator didn't even touch me. And even this happened. I was crouching over there, but the guard pulled me out from over here. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's coming back to me, I think.
Then on top of all this are the outdated graphics. And you know, to me that's not a problem, because better graphics don't necessarily make a better game, but what I do have a problem with are the poorly done cutscenes that use gameplay graphics. The mouth work on the characters is terrible for the most part, and some cutscenes use repeated animations. What the hell? And for some of the character models, the voice doesn't fit. For example, take a look at this guy. And now listen to the voice.
Yeah, well, don't get excited. We'll play for it with dice tonight.
Yeah, does that voice sound like it fits for someone who looks like that? That's like if I do a video with a voice like this. Yeah, isn't that fun? Ha 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 ha, fucking dickwads. So with all of these issues, is there anything good in this game? Well, as I said in the beginning, to me this game is a mixed bag of feelings. And now, as always, let's be fair.
You, my friend, you really have some paying back to do. Yes, you do.
Now, the truth is that, in a way, most of these problems are compensated by the fact that this game was released for half of the initial full price that games usually have. I don't know the reason for this, but either way, I got nothing but respect for that. The first aspect that Styx nails is the challenge. Because of the terrible combat system, open assaults are basically impossible, or if not impossible, then extremely annoying. So this game is gonna make you calculate, observe, analyze, think, and plan every situation before you make a move, and personally, I absolutely love that. I think that's amazing. You're truly gonna have to be the Master of Shadows. I can't even remember when was the last time I had a damn decent challenge like this in a stealth game. It's awesome. But remember this. The challenge aspect can also be a double-edged sword, because it can make you feel like the game is challenging for the wrong reasons, and that's never a good thing, so it just boils down to a matter of opinion.
There's a surprise.
Next thing is the story. For a stealth game like this, the story is done surprisingly well. I mean, we've seen so many adaptations about the humans, orcs, elves, goblins, and so on, but this game delivers something different with this concept. First of all, because it's a stealth game, and to me, it feels fresh. Now, the first half of the story is not that engaging, but it does have some interesting mystery to it, and I'm a big fan of mystery. The second half picks the story up high and holds it strong. The lore is interesting, the setting is interesting, there's some really good twists that I did not see coming, and character development. So, for a game like this, the story is damn good.
It's the elves who created it, Father, that's obvious.
The level design is excellent. Each location that you visit has numerous different paths for you to exploit. For example, if one method isn't working for you, then just look for another one. There's so many possibilities, just explore, experiment, and adapt. The only thing that disappointed me just a little bit was backtracking through the same environments on the second half of the game, and that doesn't mean that the game is lacking in location variety, not at all. You're gonna be sneaking in these low dirty dungeons and prison areas, but also in these high-end fancy places. I just wish that every level would have had a different location without the backtracking process, but still, the level design is simply great in this game.
What? Did you spill some brains?
Now let's get to the gameplay. Despite all the problems that I had, the stealth gameplay works just fine. Since the combat scenarios are bad, you're gonna have to be the master of shadows, and that's where the game steps up.
You sure? How do you know?
Obviously, the best way to get through the levels is by climbing around in higher places and sticking to the shadows. Whenever you enter a shadow, the edges of the screen darken and the tattoo lights up, giving you the notification that now you're hidden. I've already established that you can extinguish torches to create extra shadows by getting close and pressing a button or throwing a ball of sand from a distance. You can do the same with chandeliers, which in some areas will also darken the place, and if your timing is good, you can eliminate enemies as well. And both of them serve as great distractions when necessary and when the AI is functioning properly. You can also stick to cover and pass corners quickly with the press of a button, but the only small thing that's missing is being able to move quickly from cover to cover, but it's not that big of a deal.
I'll slit your throat right now.
The game also features 3 different powers. You got Amber Vision, which helps you see the environment more thoroughly by lighting up enemies, collectibles, and so on. The second power is Invisibility, and let me tell you, this power is gonna help you out a lot. So be careful with the amber consumption because the invisibility power uses it the most. The third power, which happens to be my favorite, is puking out a clone. Yeah, puking out a clone. Now, think for a second. In how many games can you say that you just barfed up one of your own replicas?
Spare me the bullshit. I got no time for this.
Anyway, the clones are gonna help you open different pathways and you can use them for distractions. What's also cool about the powers is that you can upgrade them. For example, for the clones, my favorite upgrade is the trap one, which means I can set a trap inside a closet or a crate, and when a guard walks past it, the clone pulls the bastard in and kills him. That is so fucking awesome. You can also dispose of the enemies by doing a quick stealth kill from behind that makes more noise, or a slow muffled kill that makes it more silent. By upgrading the character, you're also gonna unlock cover kills, aerial kills, and ledge kills. You can even kill enemies by spitting on their food or in the water supply, which will poison them, and throwing knives are definitely gonna help you out a lot as well. But remember this, all the consumables like the health and amber vials and equipment like throwing knives and acid, it's all pretty scarce, and you can't carry like 10 knives, 3 is maximum, and that's with the upgrade. So you're gonna have to be careful with the consumables and think ahead on when and how you're gonna use them. And that's the thing I like about this game the most, it makes you think. You can't just rush things, it's gonna end up backfiring. In the end, the stealth gameplay works just fine as it should.
You may be different after all.
So in conclusion, Styx Master of Shadows is a decent stealth game. I can only imagine how much better it would have been had it not been for these inconveniences that I had problems with. I truly hope that the sequel, Styx Shards of Darkness, will fix these and give us an even better stealth experience. I can't wait to play it. There's definitely potential here. So, if you're patient, you like stealth games, you like a decent challenge, then you need to play this game, because in that case, you're gonna have a blast just like I did. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.